You are watching On Demand. Please do not try to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Today on Your Loose Women Live, it's Ruth Langsford, Katie Piper, Frankie Bridge, and Janet Street Porter.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You're very welcome to our lovely studio audience, and welcome to you at home. Lovely to have your company on this Tuesday afternoon. Coming up today, pucker up for our kissing debate. We're asking...
Oh, that's nasty.
Natural. We're asking if you're a sloppy snogger. And we'll be putting our own kissing skills to the test, so stand by, Frankie.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not kissing you, Ruth.
Come on, you know you want to.
She tried earlier, I said no.
We've got a loose women kissometer. Yeah? Yeah, we've got one of those today.
What is happening?
Oh, well, it's all coming up. You have to watch.
Did you
to
write
find
this
out.
section?
You have to watch to find out. Now, you might have used technology to tag your luggage, you know, so it doesn't get lost. But what about using it on your kids? And at what age should you stop using a baby monitor? We've got our big parenting debate coming up. Joining us today is presenter Simon Thomas. He's telling us how the death of his wife 6 years ago left him turning to drink to cope. He'll be telling us why he feared if he didn't stop drinking, his son would end up losing his father as well as his mother. That exclusive interview with us at 1 o'clock. So we're starting with one of today's big news stories, actually. It's been revealed that women's healthcare in the UK is one of the worst in the Western world. Now, the UK scored just 60 out of 100, putting us on par with countries like Kazakhstan, Slovenia, Kosovo and Poland, and way below Australia and the United States. So you'd think we'd be up there, Janet, with Australia and the United States. I mean, no disrespect to those other countries, but we are a relatively rich country, and you'd thought that healthcare for women would be up there like America and Australia. Why isn't it, don't you think?
Well, yes, and all the countries involved in this poll also suffered. They've been through COVID and the lockdowns that we have too. But I think the main thing that happened was, first of all, lockdown, where we all stayed at home. Then fear of going out, fear of mingling with people, confidence returning as we got our jabs. But then the backlog of appointments, how hard it was to get an appointment.
Doctor surgeries were closed for ages.
Doctor surgeries was closed forever, and then you had to do all the talking on the telephone, and, well, we know how to still do for a lot of people. I think 40% of appointments are still on the phone. And I suppose what's happened as well is that as we return to normality, women put other people first, put their partners and their children first, and now we've come to this shocking situation where they're saying that millions of undiagnosed cancer cases are going to be the long-term result. And there's figures out today showing that I think a third of older women who are eligible for cervical cancer smears just haven't had them. Now, I want to beg every woman watching who's eligible for any kind of smear or test like that to please, please take it up, no matter how irritating and bureaucratic it is dealing with the doctor's surgery and the NHS. But there is another side to this. Don't you think it's time that the NHS came to us instead of us grovelling and inching towards them? I want to see...
In what way? What do you mean?
Well, like during COVID, we were really good at rolling out the vaccine, really good at testing people, and really good at building those big Nightingale hospitals. All right, they didn't get used that much, but it proved we had a can-do attitude, and in my opinion, we did a pretty good job. So why can't can't we roll out cancer, taking on cancer like that? In every way, bringing testing stations to supermarket car parks, allowing us to have our blood tests in the chemist instead of having to go to this charade.
When it suits.
Yeah, when it suits us, as opposed to when the GP's available.
That is difficult, Katie. Yeah. Because I think Janet's right that women do tend to prioritise everybody else. So we're our own worst enemies sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we go, I haven't got time. You know, you've got time if it was your children, got time if it's elderly parents that we're looking after. We make the time, but when it comes to our own health, we're always too busy.
Yeah.
Or often too busy.
I think as a country, we're always about cure rather than prevention. Prevention sometimes feels like a luxury and, you know, not a necessity. We go when things are falling apart and we can no longer function. And I think you're right, naturally as women, whether we're mothers or not, we're often the nurturer, the caregiver, and we'll be running everyone else's medical diaries and appointments, and we'll often feel selfish to take a day off to go and get a blood test when they're only on Friday mornings at 11 p.m. We wouldn't dream of calling in, you know, sick at work if we weren't really sick to be able to go to that appointment.
So, yeah, you probably wouldn't call in sick, Frankie, if it's like, you need a blood test. If you're ill, you're ill. But if it was a blood test for you, you might go, oh, I can't that day, I'm working. But if it was your children, I bet you'd say, you'd cancel work.
We do it all the time. You know, I had an appointment for Parker last week and I made sure that time in my diary was free and I made sure Parker got there whatever time they gave me, I made it work. Whereas I know full well if that appointment was for me, I'd have been like, oh, no, I've got to pick the kids up that day and then actually I've got work in the morning and I can't really make that work so I won't get back in time for dinner. And I think we do that a lot, but I also think they don't help in, like we were saying, you go to an appointment and then they say, OK, you need to have a blood test. Oh, but we only do blood tests on a Wednesday. And then you're like, OK, so I've already taken Monday morning off work to go for an appointment. I'm here now. And now I've got to talk to someone to try and get childcare or to get the day off work to go and get this done. And I know as well, people kind of hit brick walls. I've got quite a lot of friends that have suffered with endometriosis and things like that. And often they get to a certain point and the doctor kind of goes, well, I don't really know what else to do with you now. And as women, I think you just go, oh, OK, it's just another women's issue. No one knows what to do with it. I'm just going to get on with it.
We often labelled women's issues.
Well, I mean, recently there was this huge campaign fronted by people like Davina McCall, a very good campaign to try and get employers and the government to realise that when women are going through the menopause, they deserve not only compassion, but, you know, leave from work, and that it should be categorised as a health condition that allows you to take sick pay and so on. And guess what? It's just had the knockback in Parliament because MPs say they can't put it through because it might discriminate against men.
Yeah, except, I know what you're saying and I agree, because when I first read that, I go, oh, but surely any long-term or any health condition that is so debilitating, whether you're a man or a woman, and it means that you have to take time off work, should be treated in the same way. So I think what they're saying is if you said we are making the menopause a protected characteristic, therefore you can't lose your job because you've taken too much time off, there might be men with long-term health issues that aren't menopause, clearly, that say, well, that's not fair because then I'm not being protected.
Do you know what?
Then they don't get the menopause. So.
Well, this is what I would worry about, because whilst I'm supportive of it, and I absolutely think if you are going through something like that, it's debilitating, it's a medical condition, you should be allowed time off. If Parliament had brought it in, would you see more discrimination against women of a certain age in the workplace where they just wouldn't get employed, they wouldn't get promoted, they wouldn't be seen as capable, just like how younger women can suffer when their employers know they're about to start a family? Would we start discriminating against women because we know
they
they'd
also
have that leave?
say that, the government says, the response to this, they said that if women who suffer substantial and long-term menopause effects, you should already be protected from workplace discrimination under the age, sex and discrimination laws. So that they're saying that there are already laws there, that if you feel that your employer has let you go because you were taking too much time off with your menopause symptoms, that you maybe do have some recourse to...
I do think there are a lot of people, I think it's education as well. Me and Katie were saying earlier, we knew nothing about the menopause until we came on this show.
Well,
I just thought I just thought you got a couple of hot flashes and then that was it. But I think now if people really thought about it, and we've had people on the show where it's completely like debilitating.
Yeah, we asked you at home how many of you had maybe had to leave a job that you love often, and a fifth of viewers said that they've had to leave work.
That's really sad.
Well, I
isn't it sad?
The government's got to remember one thing. the next generation of babies and children in this country aren't going to come from outer space. They're actually going to come from women. So maybe they should prioritise our health.
And also, we do have a depleted workforce. They're saying they're trying to encourage people, particularly women, to stay at work and be at work.
Yeah.
And yet
Stop making it so hard
Stop
for
making
them.
it so difficult for them during menopause, because it happens to everybody, and some, as we said, so debilitating that they feel they have to leave often jobs that they absolutely love. And let us know. We love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about that. Is that you that we're talking about there? We have to move on, though, and coming up next, our take on the controversy surrounding the animal-themed fashion show which happened in Paris yesterday. Find out why Janet doesn't think it's controversial at all. And how old is too old to keep a baby monitor in your child's bedroom? Frankie has a big decision to make after this. Hello, welcome back to Loose Women. Still to come today, we're going to be talking about sloppy snogging and revealing the results of our Loose Women Kissing Challenge. Did Frankie score a snicker from Wayne? Did Katie go in for the kill with Rip? Did I manage to even wake Eamon up? And did Janet manage to pucker up to her badger? Find out. Ruth! Please, it's a dog. Please. OK, sticking with the animal theme. Now, listen, the claws came out quite literally, actually, on the catwalk last night at an animal-inspired fashion show in Paris, created by the designer Daniel Roseberry. Don't know if you've seen these pictures today. Naomi Campbell, she walked the runway draped with a black wolf. Model Irina wore a lion's head attached to her gown. Shalom Harlow, she was draped in a snow leopard. And even celebrity Kylie Jenner was spotted on the front row with a lion's head on her shoulder. Now, and lots of you were going, ooh, they're not real. These were all, fake fur and fake everything. But a lot of people, including many conservationists, weren't happy with those looks, saying that the outfits promote trophy hunting. When you saw the pictures, Katie, I have to say I kind of was a bit taken aback, because it's so unusual for us to see fur, particularly, I think it was the heads. Obviously, lots of people wear fake fur, and we all seem to be fine with fake fur, but it was seeing the actual heads of these animals.
Which is probably the reaction they wanted. I think for me, when I see that, I feel sad because, lions, snow leopards, they're really majestic, beautiful animals, and particularly a lion, for me, it represents, like, power and courage. And whether it's synthetic or not, to see it beheaded on the front of a woman's dress is not where I want to see it. I want it to be in its natural habitat and all its beauty. And I think it does play into that thing of adding status to owning an animal, and this whole idea of trophy hunting, posting photos of yourself on social with a dead animal. Like, it's quite sickening.
I mean, lots of people were posting that, Janet, saying this is disgusting, this is promoting trophy hunting, shame
I don't
on
think
you.
it's promoting trophy hunting at all. And in fact, I signed a letter to the Times recently urging trophy hunting to be banned in this country. And I think the bill is still going through Parliament, which will ban the import of, all the parts of animals that have been hunted just as trophies. I think the people that go hunting for trophies are despicable. I cannot condone it in any way. But then you have to look at what that dress designer was trying to do. It's the House of Schiaparelli. It's a very old French design house, and the originator of the house, Elsa Schiaparelli, in the 1920s and 30s, was very connected with the Surrealist art movement, where they made things like telephones as handbags and lobster handbags. And I think this designer is just trying to revive that spirit. Now, all right, you might not like to see the lion's head, but for decades now, there have been incredibly good fake furs around, which have mimicked...
But it was seeing the head, I think. So I
yeah,
think most
just
people
seeing
have
the head.
accepted
So isn't
fake
that
fur.
like wanting to eat fish? You like eating fish,
No,
but don't let's have the head on it.
But I think, are they not portraying them as luxury products? It's a garment, it's a luxury fur. They're strutting down a catwalk. That's the concern.
Yeah, but I didn't think they looked luxurious. They looked silly, I thought. When I first saw the picture of Kylie, I was like, oh, look, her daughter's asked her to take her teddy with her. And she's carrying it around. You know, when your kid's like, Mummy, please wear it, and you're like, OK. And then my second thought was, well, when she goes to the loo, how's she going to wash her hands around the... Like, it's just very impractical.
But they're not
like,
supposed to be practical,
No,
are they?
I know. I don't think
but-
I don't think couture clothes are that practical, but I think there's been quite a few examples recently of cutting-edge designers just going a little bit too far with their big new ideas. I mean, the other week there's one designer had a child in a bondage kit that caused outrage.
But often they want to, because then we're all talking about it.
Yeah,
so
we are.
aren't we?
So,
So-
yeah, they're not very practical.
Would you wear it, the lion dress?
Well, I kind of agree with Frankie. I don't think it's very elegant at the end of the day. But if someone said to me, would I want...
I'm very...
You had to get...
She said it.
I was just impressed that we agree on
Don't
something.
get any ideas from Ruth, just because she's the cheeky one.
Anyway, I'm moving on now. I'm moving on. Because in a moment, using a tracking device on your kids, is it a step too far? Before that, though, it's competition time for you. Your chance to win an incredible prize. It is incredible. This is the chance to bank a life-changing £100,000. Yeah, it is amazing. Gok has all the details you need.
Hi guys, it's Gok here on the magical island of Mauritius. I'm having the time of my life. This place is truly paradise. The water is crystal clear, the sky is brilliant blue, and the sand is so wonderfully white. And I'm here to tell you about our competition for a chance for you to win £100,000. And the best thing is, it's entirely tax-free, which means you get every single penny of it to do whatever you wish. Whether that's save it, spend it, or splash out, maybe on a new car or an unforgettable trip like this. That's like ITV paying you £8,000 every single month for the whole of the year. Here's how you enter. For another chance to win, text CASH to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 781119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY02 PO Box 7 558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close this Friday at 3 p.m. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Scott. Good luck with that. Now, there has been a rise in parents using tracking technology, or tags, they call them, to track their kids' every move using GPRS. Now, the tags often, put in suitcases or their bags. If they lose them, you can be easily found. And they've proved so popular with parents that a range of similar trackers actually designed... I can't speak today. Designed to appeal specifically to children are now on sale. I have to say, when the kids are really little, I think that's a great idea, if you're in airports and busy places, just in case they wander off. The danger is, for me, is like, at what age do you go? Because you get easily used to having that, couldn't you?
Yeah,
What
I
age
think
do you
that's the
stop?
danger, isn't it? It's like becoming obsessive over it. I think, like you say, when they're of a younger age, it's quite handy. You don't know when they're going to run off or whatever. And I think, we hear a lot of scary stories, so I understand why people have them. But it's that line of knowing your limit on whether you can just check in if you need to or whether you're going to sit there the whole time. And I think it's the same with things like Ring doorbells. I don't have one at home because I sit with people, it goes off all the time. They're like, oh, he's just walked in. Oh, he's just got home. Oh, who's come round? I've had people thinking their partners are having an affair because someone's turned up at the door. And I think we're just so accessible now. And obviously, we all know that I'm the one that's got the monitor for my kids.
How old are they?
9 and 7.
No.
Yes, Janet. And I just don't know when I'll be able to let that go. I mean,
But some of that is because of Parker's asthma. So
Yeah.
you're always, and I totally understand that concern.
So the first time he had a first asthma attack, he was in bed, and so I've always had this fear that I'm not going to hear or I'm not going to know. But then there is a part of thinking, if someone comes in the house, I'll be able to hear it. But I have often had that conversation with Wayne where I'm like, I'm just not sure when I'll feel ready to let that go. And I just want... That's probably the same with all those kind of things.
I can understand that, because I think that's a medical reason. And those few seconds that you save with the monitor could save his life. So I totally get that. I remember when I had my first child and people were telling me about, you can get these sheets that if the baby stops breathing, it beeps and comes to your phone. And I was just like, look, how much is too much? I think that might cause me more anxiety and, it could malfunction. And it could be a false alarm. But it's funny, actually, my friend just texted me because she was watching the show and she said, a funny story to tell you about baby monitors. Our neighbour used to put the baby monitor on and go to the pub.
No.
Not me.
My friends
Mentioning
say
no
that.
names.
And I was like, well...
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. The thing is, Janet, because the technology is there, I mean, don't you know, Jackson is 21, so when he was young, it was quite a long time ago. I probably, if I had that technology, I'm sure I would have used it. So I probably had the baby monitor a bit too long. And when they get their phones, you can have, you know, Find My Phone. So when the technology is there, it's difficult to kind of resist using it. I now think, and talking to Katie and Frankie today, how much freedom we had.
Oh,
when we were young, because our parents
thank
had
God I
no
couldn't be
idea.
tagged.
Yeah.
Now, having just come back, thank God, because I was obviously incredibly naughty as a teenager. So now I would like to be tagged going through airports and shopping centres. So I will voluntarily be tagged if I'm with someone that I want to speak to. So I just came back from Norway on Sunday and I had to go via Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, which is one of the busiest in the world. And I got singled out, don't know why, because I looked so lovely and trustworthy.
Yeah.
I got singled out for extra security clearance. And my friend disappeared. Now, if he'd been tagged, if I knew where he was and I could have monitored him, or if I'd been tagged, he could have come and got back and got me.
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying to get away from you, Jack.
Yeah, maybe it was, because I discovered him at gate D36 with a large coffee and a big cinnamon bun he was trying to ram down before I got
Actually,
there.
that's quite interesting, because Eamon wanders off a lot, and often he's never got his phone on the...
Yeah, it's got it on silent, yeah.
And so the times he's wandered off in airports, I'm like, where are you? So actually, if you had something you could... And hear him beep, where is he? Oh, there he is. That would be quite
my
useful.
friends come out to dinner with me and they've got a baby monitor on their dog.
No.
And they've also got a camera on their dog, and in the middle of the meal they'll go, oh, look, he's on the sofa. And you just see the dog.
Oh, that's lovely. I have to, I'd watch Maggie all day if I had the camera on my dog. That would be dangerous.
Dog cam.
OK, don't go anywhere. We've got lots for you today. We're going to be talking kissing and strange snacks. You're not at the same time. You know, you don't snack and kiss at the same time. Also, in a few minutes, a battle with alcohol left grieving TV presenter Simon Thomas fearing his son would lose him as a father after already losing his mother to leukemia. Simon will be sharing his story with us right after this.
Good evening. I'm Noel Gordon.
Crossroads Motel, can I help you?
Celebrated writer Russell T Davies joins The Loose Women to talk about his ITVX drama Nolly, exploring the reputation, reign and rapid fall from grace.
All good things must come to an end.
A forgotten Crossroads icon, actress Noel Gordon.
Punch me.
Thursday at 12:30. Thank you very much. Hello, welcome back to Loose Women and Getting Loose at lunchtime this Tuesday. It is Frankie Bridge, Janet Street Porter, Katie Piper and me, Ruth Langsford. So, coming up, we have the results of our Loose Women Kissing Challenge, don't forget that one, and why Katie's favourite snack sent shockwaves on social media on Sunday. We'll be trying it live. I know what it is. I know what it is, and I'm not so sure, but we are going to be trying it. So that's all coming up, but time for our guest today, presenter Simon Thomas, who's recently opened up about his problems with alcohol.
Simon Thomas was a familiar face on children's TV, hosting Blue Peter for 6 years, before leaving to pursue his passion for sports presenting. In November 2017, when his son Ethan was just 8 years old, Simon's world came crashing down as his wife Gemma was diagnosed with leukemia. Gemma died, aged just 40 years old.
I do take comfort in the fact I never had to see Gemma being told the news she wasn't going to see Ethan grow up.
Simon took time away from television to deal with his grief and focus on his son. But an unhealthy relationship with alcohol soon span out of control, and drinking became Simon's social mask, something he said he turned to as a way of dealing with his heartbreaking grief. Now, with help from friends and his wife Dorina, Simon has been sober for over a year and is looking forward to the future.
And we're delighted that Simon is joining us now in the studio. Welcome, nice to
Hello.
see you.
Nice to see you.
Obviously, Simon, you've been on the show before.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, you know, the tragic loss of your darling wife and how you and your son coped with that. All very, very difficult. But what you didn't ever discuss was a problem with alcohol. Probably because I'm assuming at that time you didn't think it was a problem. When do you think it became a problem or apparent to you that it was a problem?
It's interesting being back in this building because once upon a time this was BBC and in a studio not too far from here I did my Blue Peter audition. I think I'm sat in the same dressing room downstairs. Those nervous feelings came back. And, you know, going on Blue Peter back in 1999 when we still got a big audience, that was a big gear change, suddenly being known by people. It was a bit of a novelty at first, but what I found quite difficult, and alcohol became my kind of go-to mask, was that I think maybe fairly unfairly, when you are in the public eye, people have a certain expectation of who you are away from the screen. And I'd go to social situations, whether it is stuff within the TV industry or just out with friends, and I had this sort of fear that people expected you to be a certain way. And if I wasn't, if I wasn't the character they saw on the television, I'd somehow be a bit of a bore. And I think over time, alcohol became that mask where I feel more comfortable in my own skin, I feel more confident. I'm always confident in front of a camera, mostly. But in social situations, I wasn't always as confident.
So when that was happening, I think a lot of people identify that. It's like go to a party where you don't know people, you think a little drink kind of helps you along.
Yeah, a bit of Dutch courage.
Were there times when maybe even friends or people in those social situations were like, slow down a bit, mate, you know, did you ever think, did anybody else think you were drinking a bit too much even then?
Yeah, I mean, family and friends would sometimes call me out, and occasionally I was aware of conversations behind my back, and I never liked that. You know, I think when we deep down recognise we might have a problem, we don't always appreciate other people recognising that problem and beginning to call you out on it. And I think every time people did, my reaction was like a bit of a rhino reaction. It's like you'd headbutt against it. Like, I know I haven't got a problem, I haven't got an issue. Deep down, I kind of knew I did.
Were they telling you things that you'd done the day before that weren't how you remembered them?
Occasionally. I mean, it didn't... Thankfully, in that period, it didn't get quite that bad, but they'd certainly remind you of things you'd probably regret. You know, we all do things under the influence we probably wouldn't do if we haven't had a drink. You know, most of us have been there. I certainly have loads of times, but I always reacted badly to that kind of question.
Yeah. And also, it's like this exceptional drug where it's out in the open, lots of people are doing it, it's normalised, so then it's hard to identify when it's not OK. But obviously, this life-changing event happened to you, this tragedy of losing your wife, that brought back the problems again, and you used alcohol as a coping mechanism. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, I think it is fair, Casey, to say that, because I'd actually given up in the August of 2017. But I think when I reflect back on it, I'd done it for other people because of those conversations. And actually, on the way here, I watched the video. I follow lots of people on Instagram now doing similar things, and I follow lots of accounts that talk about sobriety. And there's a wonderful clip from Rob Lowe, the American actor, who's been sober for many, many years. And he made the same point that I made, which is if you're doing it for your kids, if you're doing it for your partner, for your wife, your husband, your friends, you're almost destined every time to fail. And I think back in August of 2017, I was largely doing it because I knew other people were worried about me. And then when my first wife, Gemma, did die very suddenly in November of 2017, for the first 3 weeks, I just had this sense, despite everything I was feeling, everything going on, that combining alcohol with grief and shock and trauma would be a really bad cocktail. But then the funeral came and went. And I think anyone who's been through grief, sat here or watching back at home, I think it's when the funeral comes and goes, the true reality of what's happened hits you, and it hits you hard.
And everybody else goes, you know, because
they have to get back to life.
And they go back
to
life.
And I did have lots of people around me for quite a period, and then after that funeral, that kind of battle, I remember just opening the cupboard in the kitchen, just seeing this bottle of gin there, and I thought, this voice in my head was just saying, come on, you deserve it. Just release yourself from how you're feeling for a moment.
People talk, Simon, about, you know, hitting rock bottom or their light bulb moment. I mean, how bad did it get? How much were you drinking?
A lot. I mean, it progressed over a few weeks. And I
look back... about your son?
Well, there's a sense of shame around it. And I got asked this question on Instagram last week, you know, was Ethan aware of what was happening? And I think he was 8 at the time. I don't think then he was. And I'll be bold enough to say, and I think a lot of other people have been there, and messages I get, you become quite secretive. Yeah. So I had ways of pouring something into a Diet Coke can so people didn't realise there was something in there. But, of course, when friends were around, they'd begin to notice the change. So I was getting through a lot of vodka most nights.
Ethan knew a bottle of vodka every night?
Not every night, but quite a few nights, because momentarily, and this is the way that alcohol kids you, particularly if you're trying to deal with life-changing events, you're dealing with mental health, the loss of a job or relationship, whatever it might be, it kids you for a while. It releases you from how you're feeling, and you feel that numbness, and that's it. Oh, I don't have to worry about this anymore. But then I found almost every single time the same pattern, which is after an hour or so, dark places.
Yeah.
I've helped alcoholics and I've lived with alcoholics, so I know what you went through, and only you could have decided to stop.
Yeah.
But what was the trigger thing that happened?
There are a few things. I had a lot of chats, quite honest chats. They weren't always easy with my wife, Dorina, who was finding it really hard. Yeah. Ethan was at an age where he fully understood when his dad had drunk too much. And I think it got a lot better over time, but it was still my go-to thing when I hit stress, whether that was stress at work, stress at home, whatever it was.
Did it affect your work on the screen and things?
No, thankfully not. And I just count myself blessed it didn't, because I know others it has done. And I just got to this stage where I didn't want to put them through it anymore, but I had a lot of conversations with a really good friend of mine called Carl, who never had a drink problem like I did, but had chosen to lead a sober lifestyle. And he said this phrase that really, really struck me over a year ago, which is, I've done this to be the best version of myself. And I kept thinking about this. I said, with alcohol in my life, because I haven't become, Ruth, some big preacher against alcohol. I'm really not. I'm not some anti-alcohol evangelist. What I am is someone who's just being honest enough to say there are some of us who just struggle with it, and some of us for whom it's a really bad relationship. And that idea of being the best version of yourself, being the best husband, being the best dad, being the best son, brother, friend, I couldn't do that with alcohol in my life. And I got to the stage last Christmas, thought, enough's enough. It's time to draw a line in the sand over which I won't step backwards again. And I'll be honest enough to say, yeah, it's not always easy at times, but without doubt, the best decision I've ever made. And it was my decision this time, not other people saying, we think you ought to stop.
And you've been sober for a year now, and you've got a new little baby, haven't you?
I know.
So,
Talitha.
amazing thing.
How old is she?
Well, she's 16 weeks today, but I have to do this thing. Doreena's miles better at this than I am, although she is. I get emotional when I see her. She was born 8 weeks prematurely. Wow. Dorina developed a complication very, very suddenly, so she arrived 8 weeks early. So we were plunged into the world of being in a NICU ward where she was for 3 weeks. They initially said 5 to 6 weeks, but you know, if you know anything about premature babies, they are fighters from the off, because that's the world they're born into. They come early, so they've got to fight. And my goodness me, she's fought, and she's now gone from 3 pounds to over 10 pounds. And she's been such a blessing.
And such an interesting age gap, because you've got a teenager.
I'm straddling both worlds. I was listening to your conversation on tagging as well. That is, honestly, Frankie, that is such a good word, being present. That's something else I've talked about. This was the first Christmas where I had no alcohol. And some people say, how are you feeling about Christmas? And I said, not a problem. And I don't have a problem with friends and family drinking around me. Absolutely no problem at all. But it was just that joy of feeling truly present. Not, listen, a bit of tiredness because you've got a newborn, but not that fog. And I had to work to do Premier League football for Amazon Prime, so I had games on Boxing Day and the day after. Doing those games, fresh-headed, clear-minded, it was wonderful.
But listen, Simon, we're so delighted for you. Thank you for talking about it.
Pleasure.
Because we know, even if it just helps one person out there recognise something that maybe needs changing, it's always worth doing that. So thank you for being so honest. We're so happy that you found happiness and love with Dorina and your lovely new baby, Talitha, and also your lovely son, Ethan. Thank you so much. Simon Thomas, everybody. And if you have been affected by Simon's story, anything that we've been talking about there is help available on the ITV website. We've still got lots for you today. We're talking about the Love Island moment that's caused viewer outrage, and we'll be taste testing Katie's favourite weird and wonderful snack. It's not looking pretty. See you after this. Our kissing challenge is coming up next. Also, take a look at this. That is one of Katie's favourite snacks. So she put this on Instagram, and we're going to be taste testing it live because it caused a lot of debate, shall we say.
Oh, it's
lovely.
lovely.
A love you or hate you moment, wasn't it? What is it, actually?
It's Marmite mashed banana on top of toast, no butter, crusts on.
banana, mashed potato, mashed banana and Marmite.
No.
OK. Well, we are going to be taste testing it in a bit, OK? So don't knock it till you've tried it, Frankie, that's what I say. Now, we're talking about Love Island now. Over the weekend, we saw Tom and Zara couple up, and viewers were less than impressed with their rather noisy, how should we say, lip action.
What?
Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
That's like
gonna get the bucket.
a physical reaction.
I know, he sounds like a sink plunger.
Yeah, it does. Sounds like it's going to suck all the air out of her lungs or something.
The thing is, though, you know, if you were going into the full kiss, if there was a microphone here, you'd get to hear something.
Yeah, but then surely they could have just turned it down. We know what they're doing. We can see it. They're snogging, all right. We don't need to hear the whole blooming what's going on in there.
I think a kiss requires a level of moisture for it to... How do you slide across and transition? You're sounding very dry.
She's a human being, not a waste disposal unit.
Exactly.
Oh, I've gone all funny.
Would a sloppy kiss put you off somebody?
Yeah, I quite like a snog. My friends always laugh at me that me and Wayne still say that we snog, which I suppose sounds a bit immature.
Well,
but
not last night you didn't, because
No.
we asked you. We were asked to do a challenge, OK? It's like to kiss our partners and record it.
Like, what is our job?
Sloppy.
Seriously, yeah.
So you failed.
I did, yeah, because
Why?
I couldn't bear it, Ruth. I did say that I would do it, and obviously Wayne was up for the challenge, but I was just like, when it came to it, I was like, I don't want the sound of me kissing on TV or anyone else to hear it. Ugh.
Well, I got the message from our producer. I was like, yeah, right. And Eamon was asleep, and I was like, I'm not going to wake him up for that. Bless him, not going to wake him up for that. But Katie,
I was the only one that did
challenge.
it. Yeah, well,
Rose to the challenge.
I secretly filmed Richie. He doesn't know, and he still doesn't know. He's going to find out now, isn't he? But I did it at 6 o'clock this morning.
Right.
Oh,
we've
morning
got a
breath.
kissometer.
Yeah.
OK, so we're going to rate the noisiness of your kiss.
But is noisy good or bad?
Well, it depends on the person. You think it's good, because you said you've got to have moisture.
Bit of lubrication.
Right, listen. Here we go.
That was me this morning.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's not a snog.
Well, we've been together 10 years.
What's the noise before? Is that Richie snoring?
No, that's him. I went, Richie went... he wasn't excited like Wayne was.
Yeah, but Wayne didn't get anything.
I don't think that rates too highly on the kissometer, does it? Not really.
I would say it's enough.
It's enough.
We don't need to hear more of that. Do you know what I mean?
That's Janet.
Yeah.
Did you manage to get a little snoggeroo in yesterday?
Well, I was told I had to kiss someone, and the nearest thing to hand was Badger. I did try to kiss Badger, but the first thing is he... Yeah, wasn't interested, had a better offer. And second, I tried again, and then he tried to bite my nose off. I realised if I'd had a dog biscuit between... Yeah. If I'd had a dog biscuit between my teeth, that would have been a noisy slurp. Yeah, but as it was, I nearly lost
The thing is, with the dog, you have to worry what they've been doing before you give them a kiss, don't you, really?
I know. It's that thing when you're lying in bed in the morning and they leap onto the bed and then smother you with the... You think,
what's he been doing before
what's he been doing earlier?
We know what he's been doing.
Well,
This has gone off subject.
We're sorry, yeah, gone off. We do that a lot here. I'm sorry to our producers, we failed you there with the kissometer, really, didn't we, challenge? We weren't very good at it. Better luck next time. Listen, we're going to have a competition now. How do you fancy seeing a life-changing amount of cash hitting your bank account? Somebody will want to snog you if you've got this much money, believe me. I've got all the details.
Aye, Captain Gok reporting for duty on the magical island of Mauritius. Let me tell you right now, this place is absolutely stunning. In fact, it's paradise. The water is crystal clear, the sky is blue, the sand is white. And I'm here to tell you about our incredible competition for you to win £100,000. And the best thing is, it's entirely tax-free, which means you get every single penny of it to spend on whatever you wish, whether that is chartering your own boat, buying a new car, or going on an unforgettable trip like this. That's like ITV giving you £8,000 every single month for the rest of the year. Now, it takes just seconds to enter, so what are you waiting for? Enter. For another chance to win, text cash to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 781119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY02 PO Box 7 558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close this Friday at 3 p.m. That's £100,000 in tax-free money. And do you know what? A guaranteed winner. So sell your way into 2023 in the right way. I don't want to crash! It's going too fast!
Thank you very much, Gok. Now, I was saying Katie put something on Instagram on Sunday, which got everybody talking. This is her Sunday afternoon snack moment. And it was quite interesting. So just remind us again what it was.
OK, so you take a slice of toast, keep the crusts on, no butter, and then you mash banana, spread it all over the toast, right to the edges, and then you drizzle Marmite all over the top.
Okay. You're really trying to make it sound a lot fancier than it is.
Everyone kind of, this morning in our meeting, were like, oh, it sounds disgusting. I like bananas and I like Marmite, never had them together. They've done it the other way around to you, so they've put the Marmite on the toast first and then the banana. Does that matter?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a bit of an error. I would have always laid the foundation with the banana, and then you're kind of, you know, you're finishing with the Marmite.
So you do
why do you need a snack on Sunday? Haven't you had a full English breakfast and then Sunday lunch?
Or a roast?
What's this extra meal?
Well, I like to treat myself, but I have to say, this used to be like when I had a newborn baby, all I used to eat was random stuff on toast. This was my meal.
Frankie's literally taken the smallest piece.
I've taken the only bit that hasn't got banana on.
Or Marmite.
I can't, no, so I love Marmite on toast. Right. I love Marmite on toast, but I can't handle, another thing I feel very passionate about, bananas in anything other than just a banana.
Do you like pineapple on pizza, then?
No, that's wrong.
And you do like sweet, salty popcorn?
Well, I'm glad you're not cooking in my house, Katie. That's the honest way. I'm not eating sliced bread full stop.
No, Katie, I like the two, you know, I like Marmite banana, but not together.
Oh, it's disgusting.
No.
We need to put it out to a poll. We need to do a poll.
Look, speak to someone who's been on MasterChef twice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
credentials.
Nil point.
Actually, lots of you have been getting in touch. It's really interesting, what somebody else calls a weird snack. Somebody else thinks it's perfectly normal. Lots of you getting in touch. Jenny says, I like a blue cheese and marmalade sandwich.
Oh, lovely.
Kelly, peanut butter and salad cream.
Oh, salad cream.
Tuna ham and cheese toasty from Mary. That sounds all right, doesn't it?
No.
Oh,
don't like tuna.
Kathy. Hello, Kathy. She said salmon and prawn fish paste on a digestive biscuit.
Just like, when do you figure out that you like that? Do you know what I mean?
When you've got nothing else in the cupboard and you're like a student and that's all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did you discover you liked Marmite and banana together?
So I just love Marmite, so I road test it with everything I can. And sometimes I put it in, like, pasta and, yeah.
I like that with soy sauce.
Somebody says here, Linda... Oh, Linda says, pass me the bucket. You've put me off my lunch with this and the kissing.
Oh, yeah.
I understand
sorry about that.
But listen, thank you for getting in touch, everybody. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much. That's it for today. Tomorrow we've got... I know. What can I do? I'd have this on for a couple of hours, but not allowed. We'll see you tomorrow. Sarah Pascal will be here. See you. Bye-bye.